Hey guys, thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. I'm Tara Long, and I heard a podcast over the weekend, and there was something I heard that I wanted to, that just inspired in me something that didn't resonate. And it's a podcast. I love this podcast, and it was a guest that they actually had on. I'm not gonna name any names, but someone who's been in the field of, we could say, natural law and sovereignty for a long time, right? 30 years. So I'm not discounting his experience and, what he feels and whatever that is totally and perfectly valid. But he said something that did not resonate for me, which was basically, um, if we are born, so we're born, right, into, like, in the US and many other countries as well, and we get the birth certificate and the name and, all of that, and then we become right, a trust is created, a bond is created, a security is created in our legal fiction name. We become, a dead entity, basically, right, out to sea. And we have to bring ourselves back to the living man or woman, right? We have to do that on our own. He said something that alluded to the fact that, well, if you're born here and you get your birth certificate and you're in the system at all, in any way, shape, or form, you're basically screwed. Right? You're basically just, that's it. You're screwed. The only ones who have any chance at real freedom are ones who are um, born and they don't get a birth certificate and they don't go into the system at all, right? And I get his point. He was saying that you're either in or you're out. You can't dip a toe. You can't have a toe dipped in to the system and consider yourself free and be doing things that bring you more freedom externally, right? Um, and that didn't resonate for me because, I mean, number one, freedom, as we know, is always an inside job first and foremost. But the question is, can we, if we were born in this, and we have our birth certificate and our legal fiction name and all of that, can we find remedy within that, within the system? Is that knowing completely who we are if we're shifting from a US citizen to a national? Is that like, oh, now I know who I am and I'm totally free? And no, of course not. Any identity, any label, that's not the natural world, right? Man, and he made a good point, man cannot create, anything created by man is not your true freedom. Anything, regardless of what it is. I agree with that. I don't think we can go and say, oh, I'm a national and I have no, worries anymore. And I'm not that we need to have worries at all, but, and now I'm just totally free and can do whatever I want. Not necessarily the case. Of course, we're still playing the game when we say, I'm going to not be a US citizen anymore. I'm going to go ahead and correct my status to being a national. I'm using this as an example because it's easy. Yes, great. Does that suddenly make you totally, who you are? No, it doesn't. Just doing that alone doesn't do anything for you, really, unless it stirs something in you and you're like, oh, I'm coming back home. I'm coming back to myself. Who you are is not a label of any kind, and man cannot tell you. No man or woman can tell you what that is, ever. Absolutely not. However, are we totally screwed and there's no opportunity for remedy? No, I don't believe that either. That's one extreme. Yes, we are going to be dipping our toes in and out as we go on this journey, becoming more and more into sovereignty and more into our own knowing and autonomy. And yes, there is still some playing the game, and you don't have to do that. You can go and you can have, just use cash for everything and not have a bank account. And, you can do that. There are people who do that. That's beautiful, and it's not necessarily, doesn't necessarily work for everybody, in the world that we live in. Yeah, we are definitely entangled in things that, and a lot of it is convenience, honestly. right? And you have to choose and decide, well, am I going to give that convenience up to disentangle myself more and more? And that's something that you have to answer for yourself. But if we don't completely disentangle ourselves and have nothing to do with the system at all, is that the only way that we can ever feel any more free and have remedy? No, that not in my opinion. Okay, so just know that you can start somewhere, right? You can start somewhere. You can take baby steps, and the more you do that, and for me, in my experience, the more I do take different actions, even if it is from one system to another, I'm creating a bridge for myself and for everybody collectively, because again, I'm collapsing old timelines of fear, because I'm not in fear anymore about, around doing it. There's not fear in my system, around, oh, they're going to come get me and all of that. And that increases with every action that I take in the world, the paperwork stuff, the action stuff. Okay, so these things do have value. It's not, sure, 30 years down the road, maybe I'll be like, I'm done. I don't need to do any of that anymore. I'm going to be living in the woods or something. I don't know. I don't know that. I just know right now, in my experience right now, and what I'm here to offer and share right now, which is helping people to shift, right? To shift internally and externally to more sovereignty, right? In themselves. And that is a process. It is that we don't just wake up one day and go, I'm going to go and have nothing to do with the world as it is right now and live in the woods. Most of us don't do that. It's just not what happens, right? It's a process. And so give yourself the grace and the time to go through the process. It doesn't mean that you're not on your path to more sovereignty. You are. Every step you take, every time you learn something and have a shift, and it comes into your body and you embody it more, that's beautiful. That's a shift, right? Things are not black and white, and it's not lightning most of the time, most of the time, right? It is a process. So be easy with yourself, have grace with yourself, and know that there is remedy. Okay, there's remedy for things that don't feel right to you. If paying taxes doesn't feel right to you, there's a remedy to that. Go watch my revocation of election, my ROE video, and get a little hint of what that's all about, okay? There are remedies here, and you don't have to be afraid and be in fear, that if you take these actions, you're gonna, it's gonna be the end of the world and you're gonna get in trouble and, all of these things, okay? That's the fear that keeps you from taking action. And that is the fear that the negative, dark forces want you to be stuck in, okay? So that's not you, though. Know that that is not you. That is not who you are. You are an infinite ball of light that's in a body for a little while. And that's beautiful, too. And we have to honor that and have reverence for that, because it's also divine, right? This experience, this physical reality is divine. It can be divine. It can be, absolutely. It's just doing the inner work here, right? It all starts here. So I hope that was helpful for you, and we'll see you in the next video.